Chinese is an ideographic system. We write by means of symbols in order to transcribe an idea, a concept, or an action. Korean is an alphabetical system. This language has its own consonants and vowels which we assemble in a virtual square to form words. Japanese is a much more complex system, a hybrid system. This language uses, just like Chinese, symbols to represent ideas. However, for certain types of grammatical terms, it will no longer be symbols but characters from a syllabic system. Chinese requires learning many characters in order to communicate in writing. This is not all. You will have to know its meaning, its pronunciation, its way of writing, taking into account the grammatical rules around. Chinese is not read as is, but can be guessed. The characters are the famous Hanzi, which means Han characters. Each Hanzi is unique, but we can find common elements such as a semantic base, witness of meaning, and another phonological base, witness of sound. The characters are written in a virtual square with precise rules for tracing lines. Korean alphabet is composed, like the Latin alphabet, of consonants and vowels, which will already greatly simplify our task. The name of the Korean alphabet in Korean is Hangul. This is the generic name of the writing system, but also a synonym for a written syllable. Each Hangul is composed of letters. These are called Jamo in Korean. Korean syllables are written in such a way that they are all in a square form. It should be remembered that before the invention of this writing system, Korean was written with Chinese characters, Hanja, each character being circumscribed in a square. The structure of Hangul: initial, vowel, final. Each Hangul is composed of consonants, initials, vowels, and sometimes consonants, endings. Because of the shape of certain vowels, we can speak of vertical vowels or horizontal vowels. They are added either to the right or below the initial consonant. Examples of vertical vowels: a, I. Examples of horizontal vowels: o, u. These vowels can be composed with consonants, such as n, to form the following Hangul: na, or ni, with a vertical slicing. In this case, the square is divided vertically between the two letters, between half and 2/3 for the consonant, the rest for the vowel. No, or nu, with a horizontal cutout. In this case, the square is divided horizontally between the two letters, approximately half of the top for the consonant, the rest for the vowel. Since Korean contains not only open but also closed syllables, many Hangul have, at least, a finale. Regardless of the position of the vowel in relation to the initial, the finale is always placed below the other Jamo, in the bottom third. Thus Hangul, nan, or nun. However, diphthongs exist in Korean. In this case, the first vowel, which will necessarily be a horizontal vowel, the Korean writing system has left nothing to chance, will first be written below the initial, as in, followed by the second vowel, which will necessarily be a vertical vowel. To take the letters from the previous examples, let's not worry yet about the pronunciation, which we will study soon. N plus O plus A equals NWA, and N plus U plus I equals NY. Syllables containing diphthongs are obviously not deprived of final consonants. For example, N plus O plus A plus N equals Nwan. Note that all the Hangul on this video may or may not mean something. The interest at the moment is not yet to learn vocabulary. These consonants are not enough to transcribe all the sounds of Korean. There are also 5 double consonants. Korean vowels may seem numerous and complex, but with the phonetic evolutions of Korean, we can see that the phonetic range has been considerably reduced. There are also still many pronunciations for each vowel in different dialects. these are the ones you can see in brackets in the list above. Some of the sounds are not unknown to French speakers. For example, the JMO and are respectively pronounced E, it's the closed E, as in the plural article les in French, and it's the open E, as in the noun let. It is at least one of the most frequent pronunciations. One can also often hear AE4. The JMO is generally pronounced in South Korea. In North Korea, it can also be heard, the open O in sort, as opposed to sot, where the O is closed. Appears for example in English love. Since this is only one of the possible pronunciations, if you don't know how to pronounce it, it is by no means necessary for Korean. Diphthongs have also evolved through time. There are 11 diphthongs, excluding the J compounds, y, yo, u, etc. There are 7 left, wa, we, wi, etc. 3 of which, we, wi have a similar pronunciation, u or uae depending on the dialect, for the first 2, and ue for the last one. As for ui, its most widespread pronunciation may remind the ui in Ojurdhwe to French speakers, although it is different, one can however sometimes hear. Seoulites have the particularity of making less and less distinction between the two e, which they pronounce. It's quite complicated, but don't worry, the assimilation will be small little by little. It is advisable at the beginning to remember only one pronunciation for each vowel, the first one in each line of the table. The pronunciation of consonants changes when they are in the finale. The case of the JMO is special in that it has 2 uses. 1, as an initial, where it has no phonetic value. Examples, a, o, u, I. 2, as a final, where it has a nasal value. Examples, nang, nong, ang, the case of k, and t, kk, beware, a k in the final is not always pronounced k. When the hangul including k in the final is followed by another syllable, as for example in yag sa, history, it will be pronounced k. However, in monosyllables such as yag, medicine, or ug, jade, k will not be heard but as if the speaker stops just before pronouncing the sound. The other consonants, when in final position, will all sound like k, for example in bulletin ot bag gag day. The case of n, the pronunciation of n in the final position is not really different from what it is in the initial position. The case of d, and of s, j, ch, t, h, ss, the consonant d and these other consonants, when they are in the final position, will all be pronounced t, for example in nas naj nok nat nat, nas. Why so many different spellings for the same pronunciation? Simply because the phonetics of Korean has evolved. Let's not complain about it. The case of L, to simplify, let's say that L in final position is pronounced as a final L. The case of M, idem, this is a final M. The case of B, and P. These 2 letters will be pronounced as a final B. To conclude, there are 51 JMO, of which 24 are original signs intended to transcribe phonemes, and 27 are formed by composing the initial 24 JMO. There are 19 consonants, including 14 singles and 5 doubles. There are 21 vowels in Korean, including diphthongs. Japanese alphabet is composed of sounds, each character of which is a systematic set of consonants and vowels. Here is what will already greatly simplify our task. The name of the Japanese alphabet in Japanese is hiragana. The Japanese syllables are written so that they are all in a square form. It should be remembered that before the invention of this writing system, Japanese was only written with Chinese characters. Then, as time went by, Japanese people began to appropriate a few characters for their sound, the many ogana, which later evolved into today's hiragana. There is also its brother, the katakana, used to name what is foreign to the Japanese language. However, diphthongs exist in Japanese. In this case, the second vowel will be written in small, preceded by the first vowel or consonant. For example, ku plus y equals kia.